Good day again. Now we're going to look at problem solving when we are multiplying. Very important to note is what you need to know beforehand. You need to know the meaning of keywords when you are looking at word problems, word sums, or solving problems. Okay. I'm going to come back to some examples. You need to know what is a number sentence. You need to know the steps to follow to solve the problem, and you must know your tables. Okay, so I'm just going to discuss a few ways of solving a problem. Right, so first of all, very important is reading the question. Some of the children skip the sentences they see and they just see the number sentence or the calculation, and then they just want to jump to doing that. Then you are making mistakes. You're missing information. So it's very important to read your question carefully. Don't ignore the sentences. The next step is underline keywords, and you need to know what they mean. For example, you need to know what is the meaning of difference. Okay. So I would ask, what is the difference between 540? Then you will know, if you know the meaning of that keyword, you will know you're going to minus or subtract. Okay. I'm going to come back to more examples. If you feel like drawing a picture to understand the question better, then you are welcome to do that. Then what does the question want? What must I show? So it's very important that you, when you've read the whole instruction, go back to the question and ask yourself, what is it that they want from me? Okay. And then come up with a plan. How will you solve this? What calculations are you going to use? Are you going to multiply, divide, add? What steps are you going to follow? Then communicate your plan with a number sentence. Okay, so I'm going to go on about this as well. Number sentence is a way of communication in telling the reader or the teacher or whoever is looking at your answer how you're going to solve the problem, and that you can read in a number sentence. Then you will show your calculations, very important, and then you will answer your question properly with a sentence or with words. Okay. Right, so basically what I want to see is number one, a number sentence. Number two, calculations. And number three, a proper answer. Okay, that means writing it in a sentence. Or using words. Okay. Now, if you look at this, you will see 3 steps. So basically, your word sum can count a minimum of 3 marks, right? Say for instance, you only give an answer. Say your answer is correct, but you haven't shown anything else. Then you get 1 out of 3 marks. Okay, this equals 33%, and this equals a code 2, which is fail. Okay, if you have 2 parts of your answer correct, so say for instance you got your number sense correct and your calculation, but your answer is incorrect, then you get 2 out of 3 marks. So this equals 66%, which is a code 5, which is a lot better. Okay. And then, of course, if you get 3 out of 3, then you get 100%, which is a code 7. So that's why it's very important that the children, they must do their work properly with showing corrections and all the steps which are necessary. Right, so let's go to an example. Just before we read the example, I just want to go through some keywords with you as well. Basic keywords that's very important for them to remember is the one that says sum of. So the sum of 3 and 5. So then they need to know that means they will be adding 3 and 5. So they need to plus. Then the word difference. So what's the difference between 5 and 3? That equals 2. So that means that you subtract it. So it's minus. Then if I ask what is the product of, say, 3 and 5, then we know it is 3 times 5. You will multiply. And then the last one, quotient. That means to divide. Okay? Right, so those 4 are basic keywords they need to know. Right, let's look at the example we have here. Mr. Owen pays 1,354 Rand into his saving account every week. Important to know the time. That is an indicator of how we will, something we're going to use in our solving of the problem. So that is how much money he puts into his savings account, and he does that every week. Then they ask, how much does he save in a year? A year. Okay. So what will help me to get to the answer is I need to compare the week and the year. I want to know how many weeks equals 1 year. Whom of you can tell me what that is? I'm sure some of you know. I'm also sure some of you do not know. If you know, you will agree with me if I say it's around about 52 weeks in 1 year. Okay? So he is saving money and he's putting in his into his account 1,354 Rand every week. So he wants to know at the end of the year, if he did this for a whole year, how much money did he save? So we will say, number 1, now we get to the number sentence. We're going to say 1,354 times 52. Okay? Because this will tell me how much money he will save in 1 year. And then you say equal, and then you use a placeholder because you haven't calculated the answer yet. Okay, so this is the number sentence. Okay. Now, you're going to do the second step. Now you're going to calculate. So I'm going to calculate using the vertical column method. You may use any other method that you choose. Right, so 4 times 2, remember you have 2 sets of answers because you have a 2-digit number. So you have the answers of the units and then answers of tens. So 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 2 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7, and then 1 times 2 is 2. And then I get to the tens. I have a 0 for the placeholder for the tens. And then 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 2 is 27. And then 3 times 5 is 15. Plus the 2 is 17. And then 1 times 5 is 5. Plus the 1 is 6. Okay. So now I'm going to add this up. 8 plus 0 is 8. Then you've got 0. And then 7 plus 7 is 14. 2 plus 7 is 9. Plus that 1 is 10. And then we have 7. So 70,408. Okay. So when you've done all your calculations, I will give you 2 marks for this, but not for the answer yet, because the third step is the proper answer using a sentence or words. I want you, when you reach this stage, go back to the question. How much does he save in a year? So we will say, Mr. Owen will save, and then you go back to your answer. Remember, this is in rands. It's important to use the unit of measurement. So it's money, so we use rands. So we will say Mr. Owen will save 70,408 Rand in a year. And there you've got your answer in a sentence or with words. So in a case like this, you can get 4 marks for a question like this one. Right? You can even get more than that. You can get 5 marks because you knew 52 weeks equals 1 year. Okay, so lots of marks to gain. Let's go to the next question. One bar of chocolate weighs 186 grams. How much will a box of 23 chocolate bars weigh? Okay. Right, so then, number one, number sentence. So it's going to be 186 grams multiplied by 23 equals your placeholder. Now you can use your own method again. 186, and I'm going to use the vertical column method again, times 23, and then I'm going to have two sets of answers because this is a two-digit number, units and tens. You may use the box method, whatever method you want to use. 6 times 3 is 18. 8 times 3 is 24, plus the 1 is 25. 1 times 3 is 3, plus the 2 is 5. Then a 0 for the tens. 6 times 2 is 12. 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 1 is 17. 1 times 2 is 2, plus the 1 is 3. And then we add this up. So this is 8, 7, 12, and 4,278. Okay. Now remember, what are we using here? We are using grams. We are weighing the chocolates. So this equals 4,278 grams. You can convert this to kilograms. Okay. So let's just revise this. How many of you remember how many grams equals 1 kilogram? How many grams equals 1 kilogram? Some of you will know, and you will also tell me it is 1,000 grams. Now, I want to know, if I have 4,278 grams, what will this be in terms of kilograms? So if you don't know how to change or convert it to kilograms, look at the example here at the top. 1,000 changes to 1, and that can only happen by dividing by 1,000. 1,000 divided by itself equals 1. Any number divided by itself equals 1. Okay? Right, so then I'm going to do the same with the 4,278. I'm going to divide it by 1,000. So when I divide a whole number like this by 1,000, I remember the whole number, when you write it as a decimal, the comma will be at the back, or just be after the unit. So I'm dividing by 1,000. So I'm going to skip back 3 places because there are 3 zeros in that 1,000. Divide by 1,000 is 1, 2, 3 places back. So the comma will be here now. So this is 4,278 kilograms. This is just extra. It's not what they are asking in the question. It's just if you wanted to know. Okay, so basically I'm going to see that you've done this and this. And then, so this is the second step of calculation. And then the third step is to go back to the question and answer properly. So they say, how much will a box of 23 chocolate bars weigh? So our answer was 4,278. So we will say a box of 23 chocolates will weigh 4,278 grams. Or if you want to use 4,278 kilograms, that's also correct. Okay, so again, 4 marks at least. Okay, then the last example. A bus travels 792 kilometers every week. How far would this bus have traveled in a year? This is very similar to the first question. He travels every week, and they want to know how far he traveled in a year. This is how far he's traveling in a week. So we have to compare the week and the year again. So now all of you can tell me how many weeks equals 1 year. All of you will be able to tell me now. That equals 52 weeks. So now our number sentence will go like this. 792 kilometers times 52 equals, and then the placeholder. So there's your first mark. Now you're going to multiply 792 times 52. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, 9 times 2 is 18, 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Then 0 for the tens. 2 times 5 is 10. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 1 is 46. 7 times 5 is 35, plus the 4 is 39. Okay, and then we add it together. So this is 4, 8, 11. That is 10, 11, and then that will be 4. 41,184. So this was in terms of kilometers. Okay, and this was your second step, your calculations. Right, so and then lastly, your proper answer. Go back to the question. How far would this bus have traveled in a year? This bus would have traveled 41,184 kilometers in one or a year. Right. So there's the answer, and that's how we solve the problem with number 3. Okay, so then homework. I would like you to copy this into your writing books, and then I want you to solve them. Remember to show all your steps, and then you may check your answer with a calculator. Right, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson.